and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. This week I'm going to be in the scroll room. I have a ton of events coming up and they're back to back. I've got a lot of things to make. I've got my first vendor market coming up in a couple of weeks, and then I have an event that I have to finish a piece for, and then after that I get to kind of chill out on making things for a little while and I can go back to home content. So on my channel for the next couple weeks, it's going to be a lot of making things and just the other side of my business that I don't typically share on YouTube, which I'm very excited about. This is a scroll saw. And my scroll saw chuck head, which is the piece that holds the blade, it's not exactly my favorite. It's come loose a ton, and so today I need to figure out how to clean it, and that's a challenge for me. So that's what I'm working on today, so that way I can get to cutting things. Also, look, I was cleaning up my scraps earlier, and this piece of walnut looks like a turtle. I thought it was just the cutest thing. I don't know what cuts I made to make this look like a turtle, but I thought this was absolutely precious. So I'm just gonna save it and maybe keep it around the house. I'll put it in my office or something. But look how cute that is. I love it. So cute. I got this pancake air compressor from Harbor Freight a couple of weeks ago, and I've been so scared to set it up, but today's the day. I'm just gonna do it, and I actually tried to set all of this up earlier. It seems like it's a very straightforward process, but I always get nervous with new tools. So I tried to set up my hose and my little spout earlier, and it was not working. So I went back to Harbor Freight, and I needed this. I needed the 20-piece air compressor starter kit because it had some connectors that I needed. If you do get this air compressor and you are just starting out, get the starter kit. That will save you a huge headache. And now I have extra pieces, which is totally fine, but I could have just bought 2 pieces rather than 4 things. Yeah, I'm gonna plug it in. So basically I think it's just plug and play from everything that I've seen and from reading the manual. What you do is you plug it in, you turn it on, you let it inflate. Once it stops, it's ready to use. And seems pretty straightforward to me. Well, I'm still nervous. So, all right, close that, plug in the hose. There we go. Plug in the compressor and turn it on. Okay.
You have me, and I have you. That's enough to paint lonesome black and blue. Yeah, I have you, and you have me.
None of my Allen wrenches actually fit into the screw that's on this side. So I have this, it's a square tip screwdriver, and just super carefully unscrewing them from the side here so that I don't strip the little screws. This is what has helped there. So just kind of pulling this out to make sure that my screws can be calibrated. These twisty knobs can only go so far, so it's just gonna go in like this. But I think part of what was really messing me up is that my blades were never super straight. So just kind of seeing if I can get these to align properly. I've already cleaned them with the air compressor, but now I'm just gonna do a little play, a little calibration here. And then now, okay, that should be so much better. Let me give it a try and see if this works or not. I'm using a number 7 modified geometry blade. This is just one of my favorite blades that I use. I get it from Bearwood Supply Co. The issue that I was having is that I was constantly running my saw on a 4 tension, which isn't the worst, but you don't want to always just run your saw at like max tension or high tension all the time. But my blade would never really stay, and it just kind of sucked because I was always bending my blades. They would basically bend like noodles. So anytime I would do my stack cutting, my second, like my bottom piece, would fall out. Quick editor's note here, what I said actually made no sense. My bottom piece when stack cutting would be smaller than the top cut because the blade needs to be super tight for the stack to align appropriately. So the bottom piece would just look really off when stack cutting thicker materials. That is what I meant to say there. I mean, I'm at a 2.5 right now, and there's no flex. I think I just fixed my chuck head. I'm so excited. So I have some Elves that I was working on, and you can kind of see right here where my blade just completely bent and like I had to stop. So I'm going to test it out on this. The way that I cut my Elves is with a plywood backer and then MDF tops. Stack cut with the backer and then go in and cut each individual piece with the scroll saw and then shape it that way. But I have had issues with the blade bending, so I'm going to test it out on this and see what happens.
We've had down, we've had warm nights, we've gone round and round. What I know, this much is true. There ain't a color in the rainbow that shines like you. So let's carve our names into this tree, then lay beneath the beauty of a leaf. Will the birds and the bees seem to agree? We're strong as a maple, twice as sweet. We've had ups, we've had downs, we've had warm nights, we've gone round and round. What I know, this much is true. There ain't a tree with any roots me like you.
I'm really fighting my blade a lot. There you go. You can see those little ridges. I'm having to move my piece a lot more than I should. I'm just fighting my blade. Basically what happens is my blade is like a limp noodle and it just kind of does like that, which it shouldn't. I think what's happening is that my screws are coming loose as it vibrates and cuts, which the saw has low vibration, so it's really not that bad on the vibration. I think that the screws just aren't very good. That's disappointing. I need a new chuck head. I'm gonna keep on trucking, and by the end of the year I'll just get a new chuck head, but for the time being I'm just gonna keep going with what I've got. I'm also making my Elves in batches, so I label each individual piece on the front, and once I go to shape I will flip it over and write it on the back on the MDF, so all of your Elves actually have numbers on the back of them. And then I'm also going to put a piece on the back here. Actually I can probably just use this tape and just label it. This is elf number 5, so I'm going to do a 5 on every piece. And then this is 5L and 5R, so the left and the right ears for the Elves, so that way I don't mix them up and carve these pieces incorrectly. This little guy or gal is ready to be sanded. I'm gonna hit this with the orbital sander, and then once it's all sanded to my liking on both pieces, I'm gonna take it apart, carve it, and a lot more work after that. That's how I make the base of the Elves. In addition to my elves, I also had an intricate backer to cut for another project that I was working on. I didn't really have a way to make the backer before cutting the top pieces out, so I had to trace a semi-finalized version of the piece onto this plywood. It was quite stressful and it looked really weird, but I ended up tracing the backer 3 times before cutting it, and I'm super proud with how it turned out. Here's the finished backer once it was cut, and here's the final piece. I'm super thrilled with the results of this piece. Always watching. So I just drove an hour to get a truckload of walnut for $60. A friend of mine was actually giving it away for 60 bucks, and you truly can't beat that. I bought one board that was like 4 feet and it was $60. So to say this was a steal, he was literally just giving it away. Like, 60 bucks is a blink when it comes to walnut. I'm so hyped about this. Look how much that is. Anyway, it's time for the hour trek back to the house, and I'll get to figuring out what I want to do with all this wood. I feel as though I've made a grave mistake. I've already made one trip and gotten like the biggest pieces out, but this is a lot. Actually, I think this might be hackberry, unless this is all like a sapwood, but I think that's hackberry. Everything else is walnut. Wild. But look how pretty. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of this. I don't have a place for all of this. I'm in over my head, but that's okay. Today I'm working on shaping all of my little elves. I prefer to do my shaping outside just because it's gross and I don't have the best dust collection system. So I'm gonna get to shaping. I have 4 elves and several sets of ears to shape today, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I use saber-tooth burrs, and I prefer the finer burrs for working with this particular MDF, just because I find that I don't want a ton of material removed, and these things, even the finer burrs, do remove a good amount of material. Just going in with that, and then I have a whisper burr as well, which is very similar to like their sanding burr, so it doesn't take a ton of material.
Peace, be still, my darling. All is well, my darling. Your anxious heart may as well be stone. Oh, it weighs you down deeper than you know. Yeah, it weighs you down deeper than you know. Peace, be still, my darling. All is well, my darling. Your anxious heart may as well be stone. Oh, it weighs you down deeper than you know. Yeah, it weighs you down deeper than you know. Oh, darling, don't be scared of time changing us both. Death will leave our bodies, but it'll never touch my soul. If you are afraid, the heavens don't let go. Darling, I will stay as we grow. Oh. Oh, Lord, moves on,
think one of my favorite parts is actually just taking the tape off of these. It's incredibly satisfying. Plus then like you kind of get like a mini reveal because you get to see what you cut versus like the template that you've just been staring at the whole time. So I find that to be quite fun actually. Before I take off the tape off the front that has my numbers on it, I do make sure that I have my numbers written on the back also, because I'm a big fan of templates and I don't want to accidentally like misnumber something or lose a piece or put pieces together that don't belong together. Our street is very busy today. It's normally not this busy. I wonder if there's like an event or something happening downtown this week. Here's an elf before it's shaped, and here's the elf after it's been shaped. Now that all of these are shaped, I'm gonna go in and hit it with a 320 sandpaper on all the ends. Make sure everything's sanded to my liking. And this is a good representation of what it looks like after hand sanding. So to just kind of give you a little bit of a visual difference, this is much more rough and that's nice and smooth. Once the primer's dry, I go in and re-hand sand. Like these are definitely very fuzzy, so they need to be resanded. So from template to being cut out, from cut out to being shaped, hand sanded, primed, hand sanded again, and then painted by hand. So that is the process of making these elves. Yesterday I took some time to like really deep clean my saw. I'm so excited that I did take that time. I got a fresh blade on here. I cleaned my miter station, everything, and it just feels so much better. So today I'm gonna get to work on a couple of signs. There's a lot of moving pieces for this market. I'm a little overwhelmed right now because like I have all of my elves in different stages of progress right now. I have these signs in different stages of progress right now, and then I have a bunch of ideas in my brain that I really want to execute for this market that I just don't know if I'll have time to get to, which would be really unfortunate. But yeah, lots to do, and it's kind of hot and humid down here because it's been raining. And if you've seen any of my previous videos in the basement, you know that anytime it rains, it pours in the basement. Got to work around that, but excited to use my saw with a new blade. It's been a while since I've freshened up the blade, and it was very much time to do so. Lately, I've been trying to figure out a better shop space situation. Obviously, I have my scroll room, which is upstairs, and then I have my wood storage. I'm very lucky and fortunate to have all of this space. However, I just don't feel like it's a very efficient use of space. So I've just been trying to figure out the best way to configure things, which another unfortunate thing is because our basement does flood so much, the other half of the basement I can't really use for any wood related things, and I don't want my tools sitting in wood either. So just trying to figure out the best way to lay out the shop that makes sense, not only for renovating the house, but also for the other side of my business, which is making items for sale. There's also a lack of plugs. I don't know where to plug this in. I was gonna do this in my wood storage area, but I actually really would like to do it on this table. So I think that I'm just gonna use the outlet closest to me and hope that the cord is long enough to use. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's video and a sneak peek behind the scenes of all of the projects that I work on and preparation for the market. This is going to be my last video for September because next month I will be doing a October Spooktacular. I'll be posting 2 to 3 new videos every week in October with DIY content that you can do at home to get ready for Halloween, as well as woodworking projects that I'll be posting on my website if you are interested in purchasing those. I think there's something really special about seeing an art piece that you purchase being made by the actual artist. So I will be posting full videos of how I make each individual piece that I will be selling. So you definitely don't want to miss out next month. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in October.